Hello and welcome back to part 2 of this little candles tutorial. So in part 1 we went through how to make the candles themselves, and in this part I'll be showing you how to seat them into the backpack, kind of incorporate them so they look like they're supposed to be there. So what I'm doing here is just drilling out a little bit more of a hole in the backpack so the candle has plenty of room to seat, because you will be filling this up with the goo you can see in the top right hand corner there, that grey stuff. That is just a 50-50 mix of plastic glue and chopped up bits of sprue, and we'll be using that as sort of our material to make it look like there's wax at the base of the candle. So here I'm just testing the length and fit of the candle, making sure I've used the right drill bit and it does actually fit, and making sure the candle's the right length, and it was a bit long, so I'm just cutting a little bit off the bottom there. There we go. And now that everything's the right length, the idea is basically to get some of the plastic goo on the candle, and then when you shove the candle into the little hole you've drilled, that will kind of pool around the base, and it will look like wax that is kind of either naturally dripped down from the top or has been used to affix the candle there in the first place. And it'll prevent you having to sculpt that kind of detailing with green stuff, and it'll also stop it from looking so stark, just having a perfectly cylindrical candle sticking straight out of a backpack doesn't seem too grounded in reality. So now that I've kind of dropped the candle in there, I'll be getting a little bit more of this goo stuff, not heaps, but enough. It does shrink a bit when it dries, and I'm kind of running it up and down the candle to kind of incorporate it all together a bit. In the first part we kind of melted down one side, and the plastic that's creating that melting effect is it's got a fairly sharp look to it, so putting this plastic goo around it kind of makes it look a little bit softer, a little bit more like wax does once it's melted. And it's a very easy way to get this effect. It doesn't involve trying to sculpt in drips with putty. So here I'm just adding some more candles because one is never enough. And it's worth noting here that the candles they won't be fixed in place until the goo that you're using has dried, because it's not like gluing two bits of GW plastic together. There's no chemical reaction between the plastic rod and the grey plastic that will fuse them together. You're just waiting for the goo to dry solid so that it'll hold them in place. So you got some time to play around and make sure that they're all perfectly straight. So here I'm just adding some more of that goo to make it look like wax is kind of dripped down and around the candles. And you can hand this effect up as much as you like when you're sculpting it. Also when you're painting, you can kind of paint all the little bubbly bits in the wax colour, or you can kind of leave in the black of the armour, make it a bit more subtle, add a bit less of this stuff. It's entirely up to you. So there you go. 3 candles are seated in, they're all sufficiently gooped. Let's go with that. So now I'm just kind of straightening them all up. It's worth noting as well, when you are putting multiple candles in like this, make sure there's enough space for them all to sit with the little protrusions from the melting step in the first video, without them all sticking out at odd angles. So this is sort of just right so that all 3 of them can sit up quite straight and quite close together. And there you go, all straight. So now I'll just pop it on the back of a guy to dry. There we are. And there is one very nearly finished intercessor with some candles on his back. Hope this was helpful. Thanks for tuning in. Ta.